Hello.
Hi, Harold.
Oops. Okay. Hi.
Hello, boys.
Okay. Did the rabbi do anything today? Any movers today? No?
That's a good question. I think he's scheduled for tomorrow, actually.
Oh, okay. And that's when you're leaving
And he
town.
asked me to host the shear Wednesday night, so I assume he's still moving.
Oh, okay. And what are
How's
you
the
gonna talk
desert?
about? Beautiful, just beautiful. It's like 72, sunny.
Perfect.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be 77.
All right, if you want to play
Pickleball.
golf with my parents, I'll give them a call.
I'll play pickleball with them. They just have to bring the pickles.
Your grandkids out there with you?
No. I'm here for vacation,
Nice.
not babysitting.
Magda's at the casino?
Not yet. Still early. You know all the tricks.
Were you tonight?
And Rancho Mirage
Oh,
in
wonderful.
a couple of days. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. My children went skiing today. They came in from Israel, and
Oh, nice.
my great grandchildren, they went skiing at Running Springs. And hopefully,
Yeah.
they,
Yeah. Plenty of snow.
yeah, that's good. I hope they went there.
I'm happy they were able to get out. I heard the airport was closed in Israel today.
I
Yeah, then
heard,
they
yes.
reopened it after Netanyahu
They reopened.
paused.
Yeah, everything's open again. They after Netanyahu spoke, they reopened everything. Hey George, welcome back.
Thank you.
So how was New
George.
York? How
I
was
went to New York.
Cold?
Great, cold and rainy.
Oh God.
Baruch Hashem, it was good. All good.
Always good to
Had a
come
cousin.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on Samech Gimel, 63. Nazir Shigilech. So a Nazir who presumed that he was Tahor. And he took a haircut on the 31st day. He hadn't brought his korbanos yet. The Nodalahu Shu Tomei. Somebody informs him that within the 30 days, he had been exposed to Tumas Mace. It's either, Rashi says either within the 30 days or even on that day, 31st day, before he brought his korbanos. So it depends. Im Tuma Yadua, if at the time he became Tomei, it was a known Tuma, then it wipes away all the previous days of Nazirus. If he brought his korbanos, became Tomei, even by a Tuma Yadu, it doesn't, he just has 7 days, like Tumas Mace. Vim Tumas Tahom, if it's a buried Tuma that nobody knew about, Eino Soser. So that does not wipe away his Nazirus. Imad Shelo Gilei. Now, if all of this happened before he took his haircut, then it doesn't make a difference whether it's a known Tuma or an unknown Tuma, Ben Kach or Ben Kach Soiser. Okay, so how does this work? Yorad Lidbol b'ma'ara, person went into a cave to take a swim. V'nimtza meis saf al pi ha'ma'ara. And a mace is found floating in the cave at the opening. So that's an example of a Tuma Yadua. So he would be Tomei. Nimsa Meshuka Bekarkamar, or let's say the dead body was in the ground, in the floor of the cave. So then it depends. If the person was Tohor and Yorad Lahakir, and he only went in because it was a hot day and he wanted to cool himself off, then he remains Tohor. If the point of him going into the spring in the cave was litar mitumas meis, then the mikveh doesn't work. Tomei. We keep him on whatever chazaka he was in, the presumption. Shecheskas tomei tomei, cheskas tor tor shraglaim ladom. So first, the Gemara wants to know Manon and Mili. Where do we see that by Nezirus there's a difference between whether it's a known tumah or an unknown tumah? Amar Blazer de Amar Kra, v'chiamus mesa lav befesa pito. By the psukim related to a nazir, it says somebody dies suddenly. Allah. Allah is darshan by the Gemara to mean b'muchuveres lo. It's clear as day that he was contaminated with tumah. That's a tumah you do. That type of tumah breaks the Nezirus. Reish Lakish Amar different pasuk. Amar Kra, ki yetamei la nefesh, o b'derech rechoka. This is a pasuk dealing with the person going to be makar of the Korban Pesach. And he says if a person is tamei, and we're going to see that parsha says you can do Pesach Sheni. Let's say he is tamei, or he's on a trip to China. So the Gemara darshans ki derech. Ma derech begoloi, a road you can see with your eyes. It's open. Everyone sees it. Avkol begoloi. So tumah has to be a tumah that is seen. So the Gemara wants to know, fine. Elahadis non. What about the following Mishnah? Ezeu tumas atohim. What's considered a tumah of the deep, which means an unknown tumah? Kol she'ena makira echa b'sof ha'olam. Nobody in the world knows about this tumah, not even one person. Aval makira echa b'sof ha'olam. But there is one person who knows that there's a corpse buried in such and such place. Ein zu tumah ha'tohim. So, based on the two pshatim, Bishmal Mandar Ki Derech, the pasuk Reish Lakish learns Ki Yetamei LaNefesh or B'derech Rechoika, that has to be clear, open and clear, Shapir. So I understand that somebody in the world knew about it. It's like a derech. But if it's got to be clear to the person, the Nazir himself, who cares if somebody in the rest of the world, somebody knows that there's a certain mason?
It's strange. He doesn't have any knowledge of it. How would he?
And that's why the Gemara says it doesn't make sense. No, it depends. If it's based on derech, which is so, it is clear to the guy who's in China who knows about the fact that somebody had been buried in this place. That's clear enough based on that pasuk. But based on the pasuk that says Chiamus Meis Alav, on the Nazir himself, so he has to know clearly that he was contaminated with tumah. Who cares whether somebody else in the world knows about it? That's one kasha. The Su, Haditanya, it says in the Baraisa, Hamotze Meis Mushkav L'Rach Bashal Derech. You have a road, a narrow road, and we are told that a mace was buried in that road. Now, Bitruma, and it's to the width of the road, not the length. So, and we assume that you cannot walk on the road without walking over this maze. So if he's on his way to eat truma, tameh. So he will not be able to eat truma. However, ben Nazir uvasiyas Pesach tohor. This is the special din of tumas hatahoim for Nazir. If the Nazir doesn't know about it because it's buried, it does not convey tumah to him to make him break his Nazirus. Similarly, a person on his way to do the Korban Pesach, where if you don't do the Korban Pesach, you get kores. So the Gemara wants to know, Maishna, what's the difference? Tumas hatahom, Gemara Gmirila. It's this din of tumas hatahom, and it's really a Masorah. It's not based on psukim. So that kasha that you had on Olav, that's not a kasha, because really we learn it from a different source.
Halacha l'Moshe Sinai.
Imad shelo gileach. And then we said, if he got Tomei before he took a haircut, then it makes no difference whether it's a Tuma Yedua or Tuma Tahom. It's Soiser the Nazirus. Mantana, who is the author of this Mishnah? Amar Rav Yechon Rav Eliezer Hida. Omar Tiklachas Me'akeves. That if you took a haircut, it's no problem if you be Tomei afterwards. But if you hadn't taken your haircut, the haircut keeps your Nazirus alive. It's not just the count. So if he was revealed that he became Tomei somehow before he took a haircut, it's Tuma betoch the Nazirus, and it wipes it away. Boy Rami Barcham. Nitma besoch malos, if he became Tomei within the 30 days, then no delola achar malos, but he was informed about it on day 31, Mao. Basar Yedi Azlinan? Do we go after his knowledge and it's considered the Yediya happened after Malos? Olo? Oh, we go after when he knew about it. And since he knew about it within the 30, it would be considered B'toch Malos and would, according to all opinions, wipe away. According to one opinion, if the tumah occurs after Malos, it doesn't wipe it away. Now, to what halachic ramification? Lamai. Lemister, we're talking about being soiser the prior 30 days. Amarava Toshma. If he was informed that he was Tomei before a haircut, it says Benkach Benkach soiser. We learned in the Mishnah that what that meant, Benkach Benkach meant, no matter what kind of tumah it was, whether it was a tumah yedua or a tumah satohim. Now the Gemara wants to know exactly how does this case work. If he was informed of the tumah within 30 days, so there's no tzrich lemeimar. So of course it's soiser. He didn't finish his nazirus, became tamei. The question then, El Alav, is Lachar Malois. The point of debate is after 30 days, on 31st day. And Shma Mino Adain Tiboilach. Still a question. Is it Kuloi Soiser if you're informed about Tum on day 31, does it wipe away all 30 days? Oh, Shiva Soiser. Maybe you only have to count 7 new days, like every Tumah does. Lema. The machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbanon, according to Rabbanon, it always wipes away all of it. Because even after Malos, according to Chachamim, it wipes away everything. And Rabbi Eliezer kalachar Malos shiva soiser. Rabbi Eliezer always held that if a person becomes tamei on day 31 after the 30 days, you only have to count 7 new days. Amar lacha. So you could answer, Hani miliki nitma achar malos. That's if it was nitma on day 31. But the case you're asking about is violet name alosu. That's one way to go. Oh, Dilma, shiny acha, the idea achar malosi. That it doesn't make a difference when he physically became contaminated with tumors. When did he know about it? Umina. So therefore, from our Mishnah, we can prove Tani benkach ubenkach soiser. It says no matter what kind of tumor it was, if it was prior to the haircut, it wipes away. The law kamiflagi. There was no discussion: is it before malos or after malos? So from here, it seems that it only soiser 7 days, and even according to Chachamim, if the idea occurs on day 31. We talked about a case where there was a corpse buried. He doesn't know about it. It was buried along the width of a road, and he walked on the. And then later on, they tell him, "Oh, you know what? There was a tumah there." So if he's informed prior to eating truma, he can't eat the truma. He's considered tumah. But benazir voice of Pesach tohar. But if he's a nazir, where there's an exclusion of truma satahim, an unknown tumah, or if he's on his way to shech the korban Pesach, he would be considered tor. Normally, a derech is a reshus harabim. Suffik tumah b'reshus harabim is tor, and we're going to see it's a suffik because we say all of this even in a case where the road was so narrow, he was the width of the road was the height of the tumah, of the mace. So there is no suffix. He vadai had an oil over a tumah, but because it's nazrat home for Nezirus and for Korban Pesach, it's not considered a tumah. Now, yesh lo mokum la'avor. Let's say the corpse was 5 feet, and the width of the road is 6 feet. So we're not 100% sure that he walked on the part of the road that is overhanging the mace. So therefore, afla truma tor, because suffik tumah b'reshus harabim is considered tor. Bamed v'armamum shematzo shalim. That's when they dug the mace up, and they found that the corpse was intact. Aval meshubur mefuruk. If the corpse was broken into pieces, so even if the mace was 5 feet tall and the road was 5 feet, I feel like makom lavor, it's a suffix because chayshin and shemebei pirkin over. There's always a chance that he walked between the pieces of broken corpse, and he was not oil over the mace. However, if he was actually buried in a grave there, the grave has the quality to sort of unify a corpse, even if it's broken in pieces. Now, that we say it's tamei b'malach baraglo. That's if he's walking with his feet. But if he's being carried, aval ta'un or rochuv, or he's riding on a horse, or let's say he's carrying a burden, or he's riding, tamei. A person who walks, he might not have touched the mace. He might not have moved it. And he might have not been oil over it. But if he's carrying a burden, ton or rochov, or he's riding a horse, there it's going to be automatic that either he touched it or he was oil over the mace. All of this is betumah satahoim. Is a tumah that we didn't know that was there. Well, tumah yedua shloish ton tmei. If the mace is there, we know it was there. Then all 3 cases, truma, nazir, or pesach, will be tumah.
Why does the Gemara have to tell you that it's a b'man of shachar? We know that if you walk over tumah, so you become tameh. There was,
Well, because it started off by saying,
we know that the Shaila is on Tahom, that you don't know that it's there.
so,
There's
and
no-
now it's, right? And it's
There's no Shaila on if you know something's there.
So that's right. In Chanami, there's no, this
I-
part of the
I
mission
don't
doesn't
understand.
have
I
a
don't
chiddush.
understand the whole mahalach of the Gemara. I mean, it's okay. But I'm just,
No,
it's
you don't
straight. It must be
understand.
telling you something
You don't
else.
understand the last 5 words.
You're right.
Aval tuma yidua shloish ton tmein. Now, it's making a distinction between tuma tahom and now it's going to give us the gedorim. Ezewi tuma satahom, hoshein makir echa b'sof ha'olam. Nobody in the world knows that there's a mace there. Maybe at some point somebody knew. The grave digger knew, but he died. So there's nobody left in the world that knows that there was a mace there. That's called the Tumas Satahom. Makira Echad B'Sof Ha'olam. The grave digger who's still alive, Ein Zu Tumas Satahom. That's considered a Tuma Yedua, even though the person walking there doesn't know anything about it. But there's no tour of Tumas Satahom if there's somebody in the world who knows that there's a Tumah there. So that's maybe how you can answer Walter's question. What is this doing here? So now we have a good get there of what's Tumah Tahom, what's Tumah Sayidua.
By the way, early, sorry to disturb this year, but just you see a yesod here, which is completely different to what we learned. The law is not making the law. The law is if you walk over something that's Tumah, you Tameh. But because you don't know, it's like ignorance of the law is no excuse in America. Here you have ignorance of that law. It's the facts that make the law. The fact that you didn't know and nobody else knows makes you tahor.
Right? It's like you're an anus.
Completely opposite to the way the law is written today. It's a big yesod, this.
Yeah, you're an anus, because what can you do? Nobody knows. You didn't
it's
know.
more than an
Now they
anus.
dug it up and they found a mace. So you're
No, but
protected.
it's more
Anus
than-
Rachmane Patre. That's really
No,
what's
but it's
going
more
on.
than an anus. Halacha anus rachmana patre, but this is there's no anus rachmana patre.
He's an anus. What could he have done?
English
There's
law.
no-
In English law, there's no anus rachmana patre.
in tort, in certain cases, sometimes you are excluded. Involuntary
Very
manslaughter.
unusual. Ignorance of the law doesn't make you part.
Not ignorance of the law. This is ignorance of the facts. There's a mace.
Ignorance of but ignorance of the facts in law, in English law, also doesn't make you. It doesn't make any difference. Yeah, the facts make the law. It's not that the law makes the fact. In other words, it's a bigger sort. Okay.
But it's ignorance of what is the Metzias. There was a
Right.
mace there, and he doesn't know about it, and nobody knows about it.
Okay.
Haya Tamun B'Tevin B'Tzroros. The mace was hidden in straw, and nobody can see it. Areza Tumas Atahom. Don't think it has to be in the ground. If it's in rocks or straw, it's also Tumas Atahom. As long as the ayin is not shoylet on it. The Yomim of Afel of Nikike Asloim. However, if it's in the ocean, or it's dark, or it's in a hole in the rock, so that's not considered Tumas Atahom, because the eye can reach to those places. In the dark, it becomes light. In the water, you can reach there and swim underneath it and eventually see it. The law Amru Tumas Atahom Elameis Bilvad. This heter of Tumas Atahom only applies to Tumas Mace. Tumas Sheret, Tumas Nevela. There's no difference whether it's Yedua or whether it's not Yedua. Now, remember, Nevela, you only become Tummy if you touch it. So if it's buried, you're not, but let's say it's in a box and you don't see it, and you carry the box, So tumas nevela is tummy b'masa. So there's no exclusion for other tumas except if it's tumas hatohay. Now, the Mishnah gave us a case where a guy went swimming in a cave, Ketzad Yara. And we found a corpse floating at the entrance of the cave, and we said it was tummy. Now, Tsafa enim etamalin sheretz. Something floating, and he swam in the thing. He's not sure whether he touched it or not. So regarding if it's a sheretz there, right? One of the 8 types of animals that a corpse of a sheretz is metame. So you're not metame if it's a floating sheretz, the Tanya. Safek tumat safa, you're not sure, you went swimming, you don't know whether you touched that thing and it's floating. Bein bekalim, bein bekarka tohira. Even if it was floating,
Wait, did you
in a
touch the
cleat.
water? Did you touch the water?
yeah, but you're not sure whether you touched the item.
Yeah, but
So-
you know, today we learned in Chagiga, you're learning about good asik from when we learn on Sukkot that
Yes.
if your bottom of your foot is in the mikveh, that's considered that your whole body is like in the mikveh and you matahe yourself.
Yes,
You-
that's if
you-
there's a mikvah 40 saw
Right.
and
And
you
you
go
touch-
into it and maybe there's some
So
water. Now it's less than 40, but the water is on your body and your foot is in the mikvah. It's all mitzaref. What does that?
Right. So why wouldn't that be the same thing over here? You've got a sheretz in the water. You put your foot in the water. Yeah, the sheretz that you saw it, you didn't see it.
No,
Does
the
make
yesod there has to do with a mikvah that's exactly 40 saw. And you go in there, we know that some of the water got absorbed on your body. So now as you step out, if you step out, the next person going in is not gonna be able to retire. Because it's exactly 40 saw. Once you went in and then stepped out, the next person going in cannot be retire. Over there, the din is, if the person who was in there is stepping out, but his foot is still in the mikvah, all the water that's on his body is considered mitzaref with the 39.9, whatever, plus whatever's on his body, you still have 40. And other people could go into that mikvah and be mitar themselves. That's the halacha there. Here we're talking about something else. Here we talked about person went in a cave to swim, and they found a floating corpse floating. We don't know whether he touched it, didn't touch it. So at least if it's floating, and we don't know, Rashi says, Safek tumet safa, Safek einem etamalin in shetz kloimer. Afagav the tumet smeith safa metame b'safek maga. When it comes to going into a pool and there's a mace there, and we're not sure whether you touched it or not, there we said by tumas mace you become tummy. You don't know whether you touched it; we just find it floating. But leinin sheretz mia eine chashuva l'tummy misafik. Sheretz is not a strong enough tumah to be metame you al safik, because if a sheretz is floating on water, safik nagabo, safik lo nagabo, sveikotor. So at least regarding a din sheretz, it would be considered tor. The Tanya, safik tumet safik bein bekalim. That means you have a big bathtub, and you have water in that bathtub. It's a kli, and the sheretz is there, and you went into the bathtub, or there's water in the karka, right? Or there's water, like there's a pond. In either case, tahora. There, Rab Shimon argues. Rab Shimon Omer bekalim tmeya. If it's not in the ground, but it's in a big kli, and you find a sheretz floating, there we say you most likely touched it. And bekarka tohir. We'll explain what the reasonings between the Tanakama is and Rab Shimon. Okay, so just a heads up. Tomorrow is Surba at 8 o'clock. Now I go to Mincha at 7 o'clock. And so I might be home at 7:35. So instead of starting at 7:30, we may have to start 7:35.
Okay.
We should
We're gonna-
still finish, we should finish in time for the tzur.
But we're gonna finish the parak very soon. When's the parak finish? 2 days.
Yeah, and then we're gonna start Sota,
Yeah.
Masechta Sota.
Okay.
We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a
Laila
good
Tov.
evening, everybody. Lila Tov.
Good night.